of our panel discussion that I want to home in on is, will AI in robotics replace human capacity to perform? As we talk about the different innovation, the different ideas, right? Clearly, the question begs in our mind, what does it mean to us as a workforce? If we recall the first video that was shared, how metaverse could help you with city planning all the way to maintenance. I shared with you the roadmap on how at every point in the value chain of construction, how technology can be integrated to BIM to support you in the whole process. So it's getting very exciting what the world brings us to. I could definitely bring to you a lot of new technology from the developed countries. But in the curation of content, I thought we'd bring you good technology, and I thought I'd bring you your neighboring countries on what has been done. That's why I picked the Philippines, the Malaysian, Hong Kong, and of course Australia, to share you a spectrum of how technology has been looked at. So I want to kind of go around the panel here. I guess you know all of them as we discussed. I'm going to ask each of this panel member to give a brief statement around the key question that we have. And I repeat the question, will AI in robotics making machines more intelligent replace human capacity to perform? Right? So I'm going to start from the end, Dr. Iskandar. Right? So in a brief statement, what do you think, right? Will AI in robotics eventually replace the human capacity to perform?
Thank you, Oliver. So in my mind, humans are very adaptive to change. So I believe that humans, we will create a new set of humans who are always adaptive to the advancements of AI and also machine learning. And these are the people who are always on the learning curve. And there'll be another group who are the laggers, people who are very laid back. And these are the people who's going to be left behind. Yeah. So there's no choice. AI is going to be with us. The best is when we, as human, we survive the COVID situation. So the COVID situation has taught us as human beings, quick change to adaptation to quick changes to scenarios. So AI is going to be that new scenario, and as a human, we have to quickly change. So I believe that a new set of economy that will allow us to level the playing field. So if you are fast in adapting to it, taking advantage of it, you can do a catch-up game because it's just, by the day, is all going to end up as, to me, AI is going to end up as a tool that you're going to use in your everyday life. So it's going to end up again with your smartphone or smart device. That's all.
I couldn't agree with him more, right? I'm sure we know that over the centuries, since the early ages, humans have been able to adapt. And we adapt well, right? Survival of the fittest, survival of the smartest, right? And in fact, in one of the presentation by, one of the slides by Mr. Aidan Flynn, he showed us the history of construction from the prehistoric days to modern construction, how we have evolved. And this is the time we start to think about how innovation is going to affect us. So, Aidan, I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts? Will AI replace human capacity to perform?
No, I think AI and robotics will just enhance what humans can do. We'll be able to do more with less. We've built a bricklaying robot. We're not trying to replace bricklayers. We're just trying to enhance that they can build 250 homes a year instead of 20. I think the only way AI and robotics will replace the human capacity to perform is if it's not embraced. It's for those humans that don't get involved with robotics and don't adapt and evolve. I think most people will. I think the human race is clearly adapting to technology in most aspects of their lives, just not yet in construction. But I don't think it'll ever fully replace the human capacity to perform. It'll just enable us to do greater things and do them quicker and safer.
Very good message. Enable us to do more with less. That brings me to the thought of the days where we start to have spreadsheets, right? We use spreadsheets to do a lot of financial calculation. I know those who use spreadsheets start to use a calculator by the side and start to double check what the spreadsheet calculates, right? I'm not sure we need to go to that stage. We need to build confidence in what technology, what innovation brings to us. Hence, it's important for us to understand the technology in order to leverage it and help us to do better, do more with less. A good message there. I'm going to turn to my friend now, Antonio. Having listened and saw how the robot hanging out there could do the cleaning inspection for you, again, the question, will AI in robotics replace human capacity to perform?
Thank you for the question. So my answer is yes and no. Yes, yeah. Those workers, those humans who are now working at height or taking up all the dangerous tasks, they will be replaced and they should be replaced. So all of those workers will be gone, and we are happy to see that. But on the other hand, do we need human, or will human lose their jobs? No, because we are changing the way humans work, and then we're improving the job nature. And so I cannot agree more with all these two gentlemen. Is now with AI in robotics, in the construction industry, so we will have the same workforce, but we work more comfortably, and then more productivity. And one thing I would like to share is, I just went to a international symposium that talk about the way of life we would like to have in the future. And every country and every government official is saying that we would love to have a safe and happy life. I think AI and robotics will bring us a safer and happier life for all the workers.
A safer and happier life for all the workers. I like that message. I really like the fact that technology should make us live in a higher quality environment. What does that mean? Let me now turn to Edwin on my right. He shared with us the basic ingredients. Oh, Edwin first, yeah. Basic ingredients of a smart home. And he shared with you the key ingredient and said, don't sit there and watch technology move. You have to move along technology. So Edwin, same question. Will AI in robotics replace human capacity to perform?
Hello. As I said before, there are two kinds of people in the workforce. One is the fence eater, and the other one is the active performer. In the question that will it replace people, the fence eater will be replaced. They're just sitting there and just watching the technology move. And I think it is up to us right now to not to be replaced, be active performer or active participants of the technology, grow with the technology. As Doctor said, we can adapt. Don't be afraid. We can adapt with its technology. Don't be afraid with those robots who are crawling, those robots who are lifting. Don't be afraid. We can adapt, and we must be an active participants of the workforce. Study, learn more, read more, try more, and fail more. Because the more you fail, the more you're going to realize there's one way to make it right.
Thank you. Well, be active in understanding technology so that you can be at the forefront. I believe we should be and will have to be masters of technology and not become slaves to technology. Now, before I go on to the final speaker that I've invited to join us, I'd like you to start thinking about the questions that you may have. So as our professor from Anderson University shared with us his perspective on the same question, right? Think about the questions that you may have, because I'll invite you to ask questions in a while, and if you don't, I'll ask more questions. All right, Edwin?
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, let me take a statement from Forbes magazine that I read. It said that robots need us, just as we need them. It means that there are things that robots cannot do, that humans can still, perform. For example, in case of sustainability, earlier, Dr. Skander mentioned about the ESG initiative on the sustainability. I don't think that robots can do that alone. They need humans to, to maintain sustainability, and, when there is problem, there's anomaly in the performance of the robots, there's a need for human to intervene. At the same time, to maintain sustainability in terms of, human, in terms of waste disposal or damaged parts of the robot. So there is a need for human intervention to properly address those situations. So I think it will never happen that humans will be replaced by AI and robots.
There you go. Right. Anybody want to shoot a first question? Anyone ready your first question? No? Oh, there you go. Can we have a mic? Hello?
Eins, zwei. Okay. My name is Mirko Feldkamp. I'm from Rikkerman in Thailand, head of Center of Competence of Precast Technology. First of all, I would thank you very much to everybody of you for the organizer and for the interesting topic. I'm working more than 40 years in the precast industry worldwide, and I think in the digitalization and the artificial intelligence, I see it in two ways. The first one is artificial intelligence in digitalization. And the digitalization is much faster than we developed robots. And this is for me immer a pro and a con. Digitalization in this way that we are working on the computer, that some people like in the world market like Mast or Facebook or whatever, they warning us what is possible today already in this way of artificial intelligence. We in the construction, we are in the very, very beginning to use artificial intelligence to make like robots for the bricks, like the cleaning one or something like that. Even I have another different opinion in the 3D printing. The 3D printing is a good technology, but I coming from a future thinking that we, in the future, many people will living in big cities. And in big cities, I need living space. So that means that 3D printing from the stage today is not able to serve me like that. You're talking housings in 1 or 2 levels. We also promoting 3D printing with a Canadian company. So I know the bottlenecks, but it is definitely necessary because I'm living 9 years in Singapore. I love modular construction. I love it because and only this one is the construction of the future to cover our demand. Because I know it, same what he say, where we coming from. 5,000 years ago, we paid with bricks, and now we have the technology to do it much better. And it should be in governments compulsory to working in precast technology to make our life safer, smarter, sustainability and everything. But I say in this way, I have not directly questions. I can only thank you very much that you're working on this technology. And I link up you after later with me because I really, and this gentleman, he invited me to this meeting today, and I appreciate that he bring me here to listen this one. And the important thing is connection, networking from all the technology what is available today on the market, water treatment, solar energy, robotics, and something like that. And we are at the moment too stupid to use it together. So this is why we have to have more intelligent, how we combine, how we coming forward, and in the end of the day, how we make our business smarter. And everybody talking green footprint, but we have also to really do it, not only to talk it. So this means we need a lot of more smart innovations to coming for smart housing, for coming for fast construction, where we are in the end of the day happy. Thank you again, gentlemen, and I really appreciate all your talkings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I have not a question. I had a small question. How you make the pressure from your robot on your window? For example, a human stay in front and I make like this. So I control my pressure. But your robot arm, okay, can distance. But how you are sure he make it strong enough, clean, you know. You know what I mean? So this was a small question. It's okay.
Thanks for your kind comments. Good question for Antonio. So maybe.
Thank you. And thank you for the question. Actually, I also have some comments about what you just said about, the use of technology or AI intelligence in the construction industry or in the world today. Because just would like to share some thoughts. I think it's a big challenge because I'm not from the construction industry, but I started looking at it when I first started this company like 5 years ago, and I was shocked by, allow me to say that, how backward it was, in adopting the latest technology. I think the challenge is we have to connect or blend or combine all the different technologies into the existing way of doing business or existing way of construction. So there might be some very good technology out there on its own, but once you put it in the construction, what's going on today, the current workflow, it just cannot blend in. And the workers, suddenly you have a robot sitting next to him. Okay, robot. Very difficult. They don't work along. They don't get along. I think that's the challenge. We have faced that challenge as well. I think we have to come up with a way, because we have to know that innovation or adopting the latest technology is a journey. It's not, it cannot be completed in 1 day or 2 days. So we have to do it step by step, and we have to find a way to blend the new technology into the oldest workflow. I think that's the challenge. Maybe some scientists, they have the brightest, the latest technology, rocket science, but once you put that into the construction site, sorry, we don't work that way. And that's the challenge we have to overcome, and it's not easy. I mean, we're trying to understand the industry and then to make sure that all our technology can be blended into the existing workflow. That's one area that we should all think about. All right, to answer your simple question or small question, yes. First of all, you don't need that much pressure to clean the window. I mean, we clean not by pressing or really, rubbing hard on the window. There are different kinds of cleaning technology, but we do have a technology to make sure the robot will stay close to the window with the right distance and with the right pressure. And then we have two things. We have the self-balancing technology that we have a sensor that can actually sense the wind. And then, if you recall, we have two propellers on our robots. It acted, similar like a drone. So we can self-balance itself, and we can also fly in and out. So if we want to get closer, we can get the robot to get closer. And also we have an extractable arm. So how far is it extend or it will be retracted depending on the requirements. So all these can be controlled. Okay, we are not fully automatic yet. You can say, okay, everything can be sensed automatically. Well, we're working on it, but for the time being, we have some sensor giving us some reference, so the remote operator can get the robot at the right distance and apply the right pressure to do the cleaning. Yeah.
I want to add on to what Antonio mentioned. I think a very important piece about introducing AI or robotics or automation into your work process is we need to rethink the whole process flow. If you are thinking about using a technology just packed into your current work problems, you find that it's going to be very difficult to achieve that. Sometimes when you introduce new innovation, you have to rethink through the whole process. So like what Antonio just mentioned, right? The cleaning process, the human does it this way, but with technology, with innovation, is there an alternative approach to that? We look at the bricklaying, right? No mortar, no cement, no water. You don't have to wait for it to dry up. You use excessive. So sometimes when we look at innovation, you have to rethink through the whole process and what can we do different. Innovations is one solution, but your work process is a key piece as well. Iskandar, do you want to add on some comments to that?
Yeah. So basically, I totally agree because I've been in robotics for almost over 35 years. So sometimes what we suggest is that you might need to, maybe in construction, you are so used to certain business processes. A robot does not have to fit into the traditional business process. A robot sometimes can propose a different business process where it can be faster, better, cheaper. In the end, you still get your end product. So sometimes, my experience, for example, is more closer to agriculture, for example. So the way that people in agriculture, they do is they're so fixated to a certain business process, right? So if you are open for new ideas and, you know, I think you have to work. It's like a marriage. You have to work together to make it work. It's not a one-way street. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm trying to say. You have to be open-minded, be prepared to explore, and it might not work the first time, but at least if you have this joint commitment, don't be surprised. You may end up with a newer way of doing things.
Yeah, as we hear terms like machine learning, deep learning, and the machines are trying to learn from us humans, it's probably important that we also learn what the machine can do, what's its potential, what's its capability, so that both parties, man and machine, can co-work together, and the whole man-machine interface become a very important piece. So that entails for us to kind of think through the process involved in deploying the innovation. Any other comments? Yes.
Just an addition to Dr. what he said. In our experience, what the nice word is what you call creativity. You want to be creative in thinking because in our experience in integration of system, there are some limitations of every system. But if you're going to just be inside that shell of that limitations, then your output will be based on that shell only. So what I can say, just to add up, is to make yourself more creative, think further, and look further, so that everything will be fine. Just be creative.
I like to draw your attention to an analogy. Well, two movies that I love, right? One is the movie called WALL-E, the animation. I'm sure most of you watch WALL-E. Yeah, WALL-E talks about this. The humans in the future centuries to come, where they become so dependent on technology. What you think, what you want, you just make a sound, do a gesture, and the robot brings you all the things that you need. What happened to the humans? Fat, bubbly, they can't even walk, right? But they depend a lot on technology. Is that the human we want to be in time to come? The second movie I like to share is the movie called Star Trek. I know it's an old movie, right? At that point in time, there's no such thing in the movie called AI or robotics, right? But if you look at Captain Kirk, he tapped on his shoulder and say, "Computer," and he asked a question. The final decision is the human being. Captain Kirk makes all the decisions, but he draws all the inputs and all the suggestions, the entire analysis from the computer. But he called the shot. We want to be masters of technology, like Captain Kirk. We do not want to end up to be slaves to technology and become so dependent that we lose ourselves, our whole value system. That brings me to probably the next question I'd like to ask the panel here, right? Given that there may be challenges, there may be concerns around using technology, what would be the first step that you would recommend to companies and businesses to adopt innovation? So I probably will start with our professor here. So what would be the first step you advised businesses to think about when adopting innovation?
Yeah, actually, aside from being in the academy, I'm also a startup technopreneur. And we're doing now a movement in the Philippines. We're actually going with the public schools, particularly secondary education, and we're now building up schools of IoT. So we train the students, we give them the skills that we needed, so that the future of workers will be ready for these particular technologies. Well, there are a lot of innovators that we need, and it will all start with the workforce, and it will all start also with the academe. So in the academe, I think there should be a collaboration with the companies and the academy and university schools that we should train the students. We should spark their interest because many students now are being busy with their mobile phones. They don't worry about anything. But what we need to do is to make a movement, make them have them the interest in dealing with this technology, so that in the future they will be the one who will help us in innovating these products and being masters of technology. Yeah.
That's a very good point. Edwin?
For me, one way to see the development is what you call identifying the needs. If you can really identify the needs and sensitive to the needs, to the needs of the development, the needs of the environment, the needs of your corporation, the needs of the company, and the needs of your product, then you can develop your own technology based on the existing technology as well. Then the bottom line is be sensitive to the needs.
Let me add one more. Actually, in the workforce, there's no a looming shortage in the workforce, particularly in technical skills people. So there's really a need for us to to join the movement of this training our youth, making them interested, so that the need for workforce will be well supplied in the future. Yeah.
Well, to add to that, I think education and training is very important for a business trying to adapt new technology. But I think for technologies to be successful and implemented well in businesses, there's got to be the balance of it's got to benefit the company, the profit, but it's also got to make the employee's job better and easier. If it doesn't do both, it doesn't seem to work. And I think that's part of the problem, where if the technology is just to improve the bottom line but doesn't help the worker as well, it doesn't get adapted, and therefore it doesn't help the bottom line. So you've got to approach it from making it the person's job easier and the company's processes better. And anything you adapt, of course, always has to make safety better, or at least not worse. You've always got safety only goes forward with new technology. Safety standards can never go backwards.
So as we continue to talk and answer questions, I invite all of you from the audience again to raise your hand and see if you have any questions you want to ask. We definitely want to satisfy your curiosity, to answer any clarification that you may have, because I think this is an important topic, right? Innovations and how is it going to promote smart construction industry. So as we talk about all this, and we talk about how technology is being evaluated, I like to maybe bring the panel to a discussion around what do we think, or where do we think are the important criteria we want to evaluate technology. I remember pre-pandemic, I believe it was 2017, I brought a group of technological solutions to Thailand, to Bangkok, and I visited a couple of companies here from Singapore, that is, right? And at that point in time, the hot topic of discussion was Industry 4.0, right? And as I visited the different associations here and the different companies here, we presented what Singapore did in terms of Industry 4.0 and where we want to go. Very interestingly, somebody from the audience put up his hand and said, Oliver, you can talk about Industry 4.0. We do not know where we are today. I may be 3.5, 3.2, 2.5, or even 1.8. So don't talk about Industry 4.0 when I may not be there. It could be a long journey for me. So the question I will pose to our panel now is, what are the important criteria that you should consider when evaluating innovation? ChatGPT is a great technology, right? It's the talk about topic in all industries today, generative AI, right? What can be possible? I just read an article from Forbes this morning before I came over, and somebody just sent in a couple of pictures of herself and got Midjourney to create her own image. And she put her picture together, her own image. She looks prettier and younger. Amazing, right? Amazing. So what are the criteria that we should consider when we look at innovations like this? So I'm going to run from my far right again, Dr. Iskandar. What would be your consideration when adopting innovations? Are we ready for the different innovations, and how should we get there?
Yeah, for me, my personal experience is that is the internal drive. I mean, change. Do you want firstly? This is very important. Are you prepared? Are you hungry for? Are you what you call it? Either you are pressured to change, or are you? There's no choice. You have to be pulled to change. So. To me, if you want to absorb innovation and all that, you're going to say, is it driven by the demand or supply? Yeah. If it is a demand pool, then you have no choice because you're going to be obsolete if you don't respond to the demand. Okay. If it is a supply push, then because you need to compete, and you know that it's a new value creation that you want to share with many people. So I think it's all about the internal drive. So in a company, you have to see your employee, are they excited? Because sometimes business owner, of course as business owner you're excited, but if your employee is not interested, it's either you replace all your employee, you bring a new set of employee, or you cannot bring totally 100% robots. So that is going to be our challenge. It's all about how to manage change. Either you're going to approach change on the demand side or on the supply side.
Before I go to Aiden and Antonio, any hands up? Anyone? Any questions? No? Not yet? Still chewing? All right, I'll give you more time. Aiden, over to you.
Yeah, I think, look, in implementing new technology in a business, one of the key criteria is, it's got to work in practice. The problem often with technology is you can have all these wonderful, elegant ideas which are really cool, but if they don't work in practice, they just never get anywhere and they never help anyone. So it's all about, for me, the criteria is, how does that technology work in the real world? And when you look to apply technology into the real world, often it's applied when you can see that there's a better way of doing things. And you can often see there's a better way of doing things when you constantly ask yourself, why do we do it that way? Why are we doing it that way? And it's surprisingly easy when you ask yourself, why do we do things this way? That you realize we don't know. That's just because it's always been done that way. And the technology evolves before you apply it. So you're always sort of really retrospectively applying the technology back to these questions. But at the end of the day, it's got to work in the real world in practice. Great tech is great tech, but if it doesn't work, it's just a theory.
Technology that works for you. Antonio, what do you think?
Okay, I think the way I look at it is you don't plan for adopting a particular technology. What I would like to see is, as an entrepreneur or as a company owner, first of all, you have to understand exactly what are your goals and objectives. What do you want to achieve? Okay? So, and then you have to have a holistic approach. You put everything into consideration. And then technology now comes into the equation. You should leverage all the available, usable technology today, in your planning. And then you have to understand it's going to be a journey. So you have to understand where you are today, your company, how much do you have, what are the skill set of your employees, education, etc., etc. The whole thing, being put together, and then you come up with the business plan to adopt different technologies at different times. So I think allow me to say, it's wrong to say you adopt a technology. You don't use technology because of technology. Use it because it can help your business. It can improve your productivity. It can achieve your business goals. So I would say it would be a more general consideration than just adopting a particular technology. But at any time, you should keep your eyes open, your mind open, that whatever available technology out there, you should adopt them because it will definitely help your company. Yeah.
So the message is there, right? It's a journey. Recall my first few slides that I shared earlier this afternoon, the Berger report. I encourage you to read it. I read it. I found it's very meaningful, right? The Berger site, as well as Constructible, give you a lot of idea. How does it work for you? What does it work for you? And how you can leverage the technology to support you. Now, over to our professor.
Yeah. I think any innovation or any technology should address the critical pain points of a person or a sector or any company. At the same time, aside from being should be desirable, viable, and feasible, now it becomes a factor to become sustainable. Any innovation now should be sustainable. It should pass the criteria of ESG so that it will not endanger our environment. While we are doing investments on technology, innovation, we should consider the effects of environment. So it should be carbon, zero carbon footprint, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so to make it simpler, my view on that, what technology we're going to pursue it's about gap analysis. You declare what you want to be in the future and what is your present status, then realize the gap and fill it with technology. Whatever technology is that, it's up to you, but as long as that technology can fill the gap and bring you to the future.
Thank you. Again, my request. Any questions from the floor? Yes, please.
Okay, my name is Vithaya from Thailand. Actually, I work in the automation in the factory, not in the construction industry. And I have a question to Mr. Antonio about the cleaning robot. That I want to know how the robot works, and during the robot is cleaning, and how it's moved to the left, to the right, or up and down is controlled automatically or is controlled by the human. Yes, that is the question.
Thank you for the question. Thank you that you have interest in our robots. Yeah, okay. Sorry that I didn't have chance to explain in more details about how the robots actually work. Okay, it's a cable robot. Okay, so the robots are being hanged out there by 2 to 4 cables, depending. And then, so it can move freely along the surface, not just up and down or left and right. It can move freely, whatever diagonal, whatever way you want to move it. And it can work in 2 modes. It's pre-programmed, automatic, or human remote control. So usually for some applications, if it moves in a regular pattern, you can program the robot to use, the window size is 2 by 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows. Then easy, you just instruct the robots to move that way, and then you press the button, and then it will move that way, and you don't have to program it. It can be just put in some parameters, and it will move that way. And also, it can be controlled by the remote operator. We believe any automated robot, still you have to have a manual control because anything can happen. Suddenly somebody open the window, whatever happened, then human should take over and control the robot. So yeah, it can move in different ways, different directions, can be automatic, can be human controlled, yeah.
I just look at the time, it's come to 5 p.m., coming to the end of the panel discussion. I'm going to make a couple of comments, and I'm going to ask each of the panelists to share one final comment for you. In the current age of the internet, I think it's important that we start to evaluate just-in-case learning versus just-in-time learning. Okay, say just-in-time manufacturing, right? But hold on, think about it. What we learn in school, whether it's 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or 20, 30 years ago, we learn concepts just in case you need to use them. But today's technology moves so fast. In 5 years and 10 years, it's going to evolve. You cannot depend on what you learned 10, 20 years ago to process through and work on what you need to do today. You need to look at just-in-time learning. And the internet is a vast repository of information, of sharing, that you can appreciate what's happening, not just within your business, your environment, or your country, but cross-border. And when the organizer Impact approached me and said, let's do a forum under the AIBotics brand, I was excited because I want to bring to you cross-border understanding of different innovations to get you to think a little bit more beyond just-in-case learning, because you learn a lot of stuff, and I believe all you sitting audience are experts in your respective areas. But it's time to look at just-in-time learning, learning things which you may not have come across, learning things that's new. As I walked through the hall this morning before the panel, Dr. Iskandar and myself were amazed at some of the things that we learned, what's available out there. Just in time to solve your business problem, just in time, innovations that's just in time to fit into what you are looking for and how you can solve some business problems. So I'm going to go around the panel again for each panel member to give their final comments before we end this panel. Dr. Iskandar, over to you first.
For me, my suggestion is that we have to be open-minded. Use cases. Always remember that how robots has been used in. They are so advanced in manufacturing. There's a lot of use cases. In construction, maybe you don't see a lot of robots yet, yeah. But the moment you can allow robots to show some successful use cases, it will open up a lot of mindset change. So always be prepared to go out and discover successful use cases, okay, so that it can be used in your problem statement environment. So the communications of sharing of use cases, to me, in robotics and AI is very important.
Look, I think it's a very exciting time, robotics in construction at the moment. I think my sort of final thoughts are the great thing about technology is when it's implemented, once it's implemented properly, you never go backwards. The human expectations are reset, the lifestyle is reset. The example I think of, for me, for example, is movies. I watch a lot of movies. In the old days, I used to have to get in my car, drive down to Blockbuster. I don't know if you have Blockbuster here, the video store, the DVD store. You'd borrow the video or the DVD, you'd drive home, and then you'd watch it. Now I have Netflix, and if it takes 10 seconds to load or buffer, I'm very impatient and I'm angry because technology has changed. And that'll be the same with robotics in construction. As soon as it's implemented, and we have the tech available, it just needs to be implemented now. As soon as that happens, we'll never go backwards, and we'll expect houses to be built in a couple of days. You know, we'll expect 0 accidents, 0 safety issues in construction. We'll think it's stupid to have some human out on the face of a building cleaning a window because there's a tech that does that now. And I just think there's this wonderful sort of next 10 years ahead of this industry where all these tech, which are now just ideas, become the just stable, accepted facts that we can never go back from and reset our productivity and our expectations.
Yeah, I think it's a very challenging time. So I think 2 things. One is you always have to have a global perspective. So something you don't see in your neighborhood, but it might be happening somewhere far out there. But now it's a global economy, so we have to get all the information all around the globe. So that's one thing. Another thing is it's an ongoing journey. So every day you have to improve. I mean, the only thing is if you continue to do or to work the way you have been doing in the past 30 years, I can guarantee you will be replaced very soon. So just no matter whatever you've been doing for too long, something must be wrong. So the only thing that doesn't change is keep changing. Yeah.
Yeah. As an educator, I always told my students one thing. You don't reinvent the wheel. You be the axle. So you be the movement for innovation. And at the same time, we have to help each other, academe and company. So let's bridge each other so that we can continue the future of work. So we can support all of them for the next generation. Thank you.
Yeah. Lastly, I just want to emphasize to you that 2 points. You have to start now. It's really the right time to start because the change is now coming. So number one suggestion, we have to start now. Number 2, don't stop. Don't look back. Because if you're going to look back and then perform again what you did before, and then you're not progressing. So first, we have to start and then move forward. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, right? The views from the panel. We have addressed the discussion around will AI in robotics replace human capacity? Some thoughts, not comprehensive, not complete, leave some of the thinking to you. How does it affect human at work, right? We also talk a bit around businesses and the workforce and how we need to prepare ourselves. The hunger, the interest to look at new technology, look at new innovation. We did not dive a lot deep into the future work because the future work depends on you and your business and your environment. We started off this whole summit with a very blank statement. I'm not sure if all you noticed that the construction industry is lagging behind other sectors in adoption of technology. Now, what I could tell and share with you in terms of my final comments is apply cross-pollination from botany into construction. Do not allow yourself to be the laggers. You can learn from other sectors how technology, how innovations, how AI and robotics has been adopted, and cross-pollinate those solutions and ideas into the construction sector, because then you can leapfrog and adopt new innovations to make your business, your construction sector, a lot more successful. So ladies and gentlemen, with that comment, I thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to thank all my panel members, right, for their time and their views. Thank you very much. Thank you.